HOA Karen climbed my electric fence grandpa, turned it on, and she got shocked on camera. Have you ever felt the chilling violation of your personal boundaries, not just by words, but by someone physically encroaching on your sanctuary, driven by an almost pathological need for control? I'm Liam O'Connell, and my family's ranch, Whispering Pines Homestead, is more than just property. It's a living legacy, a haven for rescued livestock, and a quiet retreat where my grandfather, a retired electrical engineer with a mischievous twinkle in his eye, still tinkers with his inventions. Our perimeter, a sturdy, well-maintained fence, was designed to keep our animals safe and deter trespassers. Crucially, a section of it bordering the newly developed Grandview Estates was an electric fence, clearly marked with warning signs, installed to protect our prize-winning show goats from predators. Then, Ms. Genevieve Thorne arrived. Genevieve, the newly elected, self-anointed queen of the sprawling, pristine Grandview Estates Homeowners Association, saw our working ranch not as a vital community asset, but as an unacceptable rural intrusion. She was all sharp angles and sharper pronouncements, a woman whose perfectly coiffed silver hair and designer activewear screamed unapproachable perfection. Her first official act, it seemed, was to send us a curt, imperious letter demanding the immediate removal of our electric fence. It was, according to her, unsightly, a clear danger to community children, and a blatant violation of Grandview's aesthetic guidelines. Her ultimate, thinly veiled demand was for us to replace it with a standard, decorative vinyl fence that would harmonize with Grandview's luxury aesthetic. Her tone was dripping with condescension, her words a thinly veiled threat against everything we held dear. She looked at our fence, a testament to safety and protection, as if it were a festering wound on the pristine landscape she envisioned. I tried to reason with her, calmly explaining that the electric fence was a necessary, humane measure to protect our livestock from coyotes and other predators, that it was clearly marked, and that its voltage was low enough to deter, not harm. I even provided documentation from the county agricultural department supporting its use. Genevieve merely waved a dismissive hand, her perfectly manicured nails glinting. "Mr. O'Connell," she purred, her voice a brittle whisper of disdain, "your primitive methods are simply not suited for the elevated standards of Grandview Estates. We are building a community of distinction, and frankly, your barbaric shock fence detracts from our property values. The bylaws are clear. All perimeter fences must be uniform and non-threatening." Her words, delivered with an air of unassailable authority, left no room for debate. She was not interested in animal welfare or safety. She was interested in control and conformity. The true nightmare began on a sunny Saturday morning, just as we were preparing our prize goats for the annual county fair. I stepped out to check on them, only to see Genevieve, in her pristine white tennis outfit, standing at the electric fence line. She wasn't just observing. She was actively trying to dismantle one of the warning signs, muttering angrily to herself. My heart pounded with a mix of fury and disbelief. This wasn't just an annoyance. It was an act of pure, malicious vandalism, a deliberate attempt to undermine our safety measures. As I watched, horrified, Genevieve, seemingly convinced that the fence was off, it was, for routine maintenance, began to climb over it, her designer activewear snagging on the wires. She was obviously trying to prove a point, to demonstrate how harmless it was, or perhaps to simply remove it herself. Just then, my grandfather, bless his brilliant, mischievous heart, walked out of his workshop, a remote control in his hand. He had just finished a routine check of the fence's power unit. He saw Genevieve mid-climb, his eyes widening in surprise. Without a moment's hesitation, and with a faint, almost imperceptible click of the remote, he reactivated the fence. A sharp, audible zap echoed across the quiet morning. Genevieve shrieked, a high-pitched, undignified sound, as her hand, still gripping the top wire, jerked back violently. She tumbled backward off the fence, landing with an ungraceful thud on the manicured lawn of Grandview Estates. Her perfectly coiffed hair was askew, her face a mask of shock and indignation. My grandfather, ever the pragmatist, simply blinked. "Oh, dear," he mumbled, a faint, almost imperceptible twitch at the corner of his lips. "Forgot to put the power off sign back up." As I rushed over, trying to suppress a laugh, a glint of red caught my eye. Tucked into the bushes near the fence line was a small, high-definition drone, its tiny red light blinking. My blood ran cold. I quickly retrieved it, and a quick check revealed a shocking truth. The drone, which I had secretly installed weeks ago after noticing suspicious activity near my property line, had captured everything. The video, timestamped just moments before, showed Genevieve not just attempting to dismantle the sign, but actively trying to cut the fence wires with a pair of small, insulated pliers. She was planning to disable it entirely. And then, the chilling climax. Her ungraceful, electrified tumble, captured in glorious high definition, complete with her shriek. And then, a chilling detail. The drone also captured a brief, whispered conversation between Genevieve and a man I recognized as Mr. Thompson, the head of Elite Security Solutions, a company known for its aggressive tactics and highly priced community protection services. They were discussing the final phase of their plan to acquire a large section of the neighborhood's common green space, claiming it was underutilized and that my electric fence was an impediment to their plans. The green space, I knew, was a vital community resource, hosting weekly farmers markets and providing a natural drainage area for the entire community. Genevieve's plan was to convert it into a private, members-only dog park, with Elite Security Solutions receiving a lucrative contract for its exclusive access and monitoring. This wasn't just about my fence. It was a calculated, high-stakes conspiracy, threatening not only my property, but a vital public resource and the community's shared green space. Armed with this irrefutable evidence, the drone footage of the sabotage, the incriminating conversation, and my detailed knowledge of the community's common areas, I resolved to confront Genevieve publicly. I learned she had called an emergency HOA meeting, ostensibly to present a new community initiative, the Grandview Estate's exclusive dog park, and to address the ongoing issue with Mr. O'Connell's dangerous fence. I arrived, my evidence ready, just as Genevieve, radiating an almost unbearable smugness, began her presentation, complete with glossy renderings of the new dog park sprawling across what she claimed was underutilized HOA land. I waited for a lull, then stood up, my voice steady despite the tremor in my hands. Genevieve, I stated, holding up my tablet with the drone video paused on her mid-shock face. I believe this footage and your recent actions sheds a rather inconvenient light on your dog park initiative. Her eyes, which had been sparkling with self-satisfaction, immediately narrowed. She quickly recovered, her voice sharp. Mr. O'Connell, I have no idea what you're talking about. This is a private HOA matter. You are disrupting our proceedings, and your dramatics are quite unnecessary. She attempted to rally the other HOA members, painting me as a disgruntled, melodramatic rancher, a nuisance to their refined community. As you can see, ladies and gentlemen, this is precisely the kind of element we are trying to remove from our beautiful Grandview. Before Genevieve could even stammer a denial, the doors to the community hall swung open. Two stern-faced individuals from the county planning department, accompanied by a county sheriff's deputy, walked in. They had been tipped off by Dr. Sharma, who had confirmed my initial suspicions. Genevieve Thorne, one of the planning officials, announced, his voice devoid of emotion. You are in violation of multiple county ordinances. The destruction of private property, the attempted privatization of public land, and the suppression of environmental impact assessments constitute felonies. We also have reports of forged documents submitted to the county for this dog park project. Genevieve's face, which had been a mask of carefully constructed composure, crumbled into a terrified, pale mess. Her jaw went slack, her eyes darting wildly around the room, searching for an escape that wasn't there. She stammered, then erupted into a desperate, high-pitched shriek, blaming misunderstandings, overzealous contractors, and a misunderstanding of the land deeds. It was the pathetic wail of a tyrant whose kingdom had suddenly collapsed. Then, a surprising voice emerged from the crowd. Mr. Davies, a long-standing, quiet member of the HOA board and a respected local real estate agent, stood up, his face etched with regret. And Ms. Thorne, he said, his voice trembling slightly. Perhaps you'd also like to explain why you pushed so hard for this dog park project. Not for the community's benefit, but because Elite Security Solutions, the company you're so eager to partner with, is secretly owned by your estranged brother, and you intended to use this deal to secure a massive personal commission and a controlling interest in his future projects, all under the guise of community enhancement. The revelation hung in the air, a final, poisoned arrow. Genevieve had been exploiting the HOA not for the community's benefit, but for her own illicit financial gain and to secure her brother's failing business. The fallout was swift and brutal. Genevieve was immediately stripped of her HOA presidency, her reign ending in public humiliation and a perp walk captured by local news. The county planning department launched a full-scale investigation, leading to severe fines and criminal charges for property destruction, environmental violations, and attempted land appropriation. Elite Security Solutions, facing legal repercussions and public outrage, immediately lost their lucrative contracts and faced a barrage of investigations, leaving Genevieve utterly isolated and financially ruined. She lost her position, her reputation, her social standing, and faced a future of crushing debt and legal battles. Her karma was a public, humiliating spectacle, a direct consequence of her petty tyranny and audacious fraud. As for our electric fence, it was fully repaired, and now, with official county backing, even more clearly marked. My grandfather, with a twinkle in his eye, even added a small, discreet sign. Warning, high voltage. Also filmed. The community, shaken but united, began the process of rebuilding trust and respecting the delicate balance of property rights and the environment. And the story of Genevieve's electrified tumble, captured on drone footage and played on local news, became a legendary tale, a cautionary reminder of what happens when petty tyranny meets unexpected resistance. I felt a profound sense of vindication, a quiet triumph that justice, however painfully achieved, had prevailed. Our ranch continued to thrive, our animals safe, and the community, shaken but united, began the process of rebuilding trust and respecting the delicate balance of property rights and the environment. In a world where bureaucratic power can become a weapon and individual ego can endanger an entire community, where do we draw the line between upholding rules and protecting personal property and the environment? When faced with such blatant disregard for rights and sanity, what would you have done?